Welcome back to Prescriptive Duct Seal Certification Training. This is the fifth and final module, Combustion Safety. Topics covered in this module include the requirement of the program for carbon monoxide alarms, the effects and causes of carbon monoxide, the ban on unvented combustion equipment, potential negative effects of duct sealing, and draft pressures. If there's anything in the house that burns any fuel or in the attached garage, the program requires that a carbon monoxide alarm be installed, no matter if it uses gas, propane, fuel, oil, wood, etc., just that it burns something. The combustion safety topics we'll be covering include unvented combustion equipment not allowed in a home underneath this program. Again, we want to stress that a carbon monoxide monitor is a requirement. It's not required, but we urge your company to develop a combustion safety plan that may include other topics such as flue gas testing, worst case depressurization, ambient carbon monoxide testing, and backdraft testing in a room with combustion equipment. Even in fairly low concentrations, carbon monoxide can have serious health effects. In high concentrations, it can be deadly. Our body doesn't quite know what to do with carbon monoxide. In fact, when it's in the atmosphere and we breathe it in, our red blood cells would rather bond to it than oxygen. This obviously is not good for us. As you can see on the chart, in low concentrations, the effects can be headaches, fatigue, nausea, or dizziness. And what I'd like to stress is that these, guidelines on parts per million are on healthy people. If you have somebody, say, with a heart condition or other long-term health issues, the effects can happen at lower concentrations than this. Once you start to get up to levels of 1,500 parts per million, boy, after an hour, you can actually end up dying from it. In high levels, such as, 6,000, boy, you can be dead in 10 to 15 minutes. Carbon monoxide is odorless and colorless, so people aren't going to smell it, they're not going to taste it, and this is why the program has the carbon monoxide alarm requirement for any home with combustion equipment inside or an attached garage. What are the causes of carbon monoxide in homes? Basically, carbon monoxide is produced when anything gets burned. Urban traffic, obviously, they're burning lots of gas and diesel out there, and that carbon monoxide can actually show up inside our house. Cars started in garages. Boy, if it's in the garage, it's going to probably end up in the house sooner or later. Unvented combustion equipment, again, those are not allowed underneath this program. Backdrafting of combustion equipment, we'll cover that a little later. And failed heat exchangers, as the picture in the lower right indicates. If you have a collapsed heat exchanger, boy, it can sure put carbon monoxide into the house. As a general rule, if there is combustion, there might be carbon monoxide. The items on this page are examples of unvented combustion appliance. What you can see on the upper left is sort of maybe a camp heater of some kind. It uses probably propane and drives some infrared heaters on top. On the upper right, we have a kerosene heater. Lower left, we have a salamander heater. And the one on the right is actually a gas fireplace. And even though it looks like it has a chimney, it's a fake chimney and it's unvented. Again, no work is allowed under this program on homes containing unvented combustion equipment. While most of the effects of duct sealing are positive, such as increased comfort and increased energy efficiency, there are in some cases potential negative effects of duct sealing. When you seal the ducts and the air handler is running, you decrease the rate of dilution. Any concentration of a pollutant such as carbon monoxide can tend to increase. Backdrafting of combustion equipment can also occur. We strongly urge that if you're a duct sealing company that you have a combustion safety plan. The Building Performance Institute, also known as BPI, offers excellent training in this area, and we urge you to pursue it. Why do non-sealed combustion appliances vent? And by vent, we mean the smoke rises and goes out the house, or the heated gases go out the house. So when air is heated, the molecules move further apart, and it becomes less dense than the surrounding air. And what actually happens is the denser air around that lighter air then pushes those heated molecules up out the vent or up out the chimney. Well, we're all taught in second grade science class that heat rises. That's not exactly true. It's buoyancy that creates draft pressure. Why do these hot air balloons go up? Because the gas inside the balloon is less dense than the surrounding atmosphere, and the atmosphere pushes it up. As a thought experiment, You might think, what happens if we fill these balloons with 200 degrees water? Well, yeah, there's lots of heat in there, but it's no longer going to be buoyant. It's going to be heavier in the atmosphere, and the balloons would quickly fall to Earth. In addition to buoyancy, there are several forces that can make air move. Obviously, wind, stack effect, the chimney effect, and again, that's buoyancy. Exhaust fans, duct leakage, and unbalanced forced air systems, usually caused by interior door closures. Many homes have multiple supplies and only one return. As you can see from this diagram here, the red dots representing air molecules, they can get drawn into the return, go through the air handler, they go down the supply plenum, out the individual duct runs, out the registers, and then back through the open door into the return. If there is no duct leakage, this results in no pressure imbalances in the house that could potentially cause backdrafting. In this diagram, what we're going to do is attempt to show what happens, say, when a family builds a fire in the fireplace and everyone's nice and warm, and then, people start to doze off and they go into their bedrooms, the house cools down, people close the doors, and will that cause backdrafting in the fireplace? In the upper left of this diagram, we have a manometer, and what we'll show is the house depressurizing as we close the doors in the house. As we close each door, the room's pressure will go up, and the main body of the house where the return and the fireplace is located will go down. This causes potential backdrafting problems, and as you can see, the more doors we close, the more negative that zone becomes, eventually maybe releasing smoke and carbon monoxide into the house. Kitchen fans can be sources of depressurization also. On the left, we have a downdraft that's capable of maybe moving 200 to 400 CFM out of the house. Obviously, on a tight structure, this could cause the house to go negative and combustion equipment could backdraft. On the right, we have a big updraft. Some of these are almost commercial grade in the amount of air that they move. Whenever you see large commercial grade kitchen fans in the house, further investigation is warranted. There can be a lot of competing pressures for air. You can have the wind, you can have exhaust fans, and you can have duct leakage. The key to remember is that draft is actually a pretty weak force. It's only going to be tiny compared to what a big kitchen fan could do or what a furnace fan can do. So while draft is reliable, it can be outcompeted, and when it's outcompeted, backdrafting can occur. It is always best not to create backdrafting problems as a result of your work. The good news is when you seal leaky supply ducts that are outside the conditioned space of the house, you are actually eliminating a source of negative pressure. Those supply leaks just act like a kitchen fan. You are blowing air out of the house through those supply leaks, which can depressurize the main body of the house. And when you do get depressurization in a house, the combustion gases cannot go up the vent or the chimney, but they can come back down into the house. When a system is actually backdrafting, they can produce large amounts of carbon monoxide in a short period of time. This is why the program requires a UL certified CO detector in any house with any combustion equipment located in it or in the attached garage. If you want to find out more about what CO detectors you should be installing in your house, there's a helpful link at the bottom of this page to a Consumer Reports article. To summarize what we've covered so far, is carbon monoxide, even in moderate amounts, can pose serious health threats to individuals. Program specification clearly states that you must install a UL certified carbon monoxide alarm if there's combustion equipment present in the house. Again, we really like your company to consider having a combustion safety plan and go out and get additional training in this area. To summarize all 5 modules and hit the high points, we want to make sure that you know where all relevant program specifications live. They live at ptcs.bpa.gov. Hopefully you'll have proper duct sealing terms. This makes your job easier and helps to deliver durable, well-sealed duct systems. Hopefully we've given you enough to think about when duct repair or duct replacement is necessary as compared to just trying to seal it. We hope you understand the differences in sealing between a site-built house and a manufactured home and the techniques to address those differences. Once again, we want to repeat that you have to make a good faith effort to remove any existing tape. You must secure ducts with mechanical fasteners and seal connections with mastic applied to the thickness of a nickel. The next step is the certification. Congratulations, you just finished step 1, that's completing this training. Step 2 will be to complete the exam. Simply type in clearresult.moodle.school into your browser, then it'll take you to the appropriate site. Step 3, when you've completed your test, email reshvac@bpa.gov to have registry account updated to reflect your certification. It is imperative that you create an online account. Many people go through this class, they take the trainings, they pass the test, but they never register themselves on an online account. Go to ptcs.bpa.gov and in the upper right-hand corner, you click register and create a profile. The account will be activated and the tech assigned when all steps are completed. This is critical. You can do it on your smartphone, you can do it on your laptop. In addition, you must fill out the Certified Technician application. You can find this at bpa.gov/go-to/reshvac. You can take a picture of the completed application with all the appropriate signatures. It needs to be signed by you and your manager and submitted by email to reshvac@bpa.gov or fax it to the number on the screen. Let's talk about some clarifications. A prescriptive duct sealing certified technician can seal and inspect the ducts only for incentives and rebates involving prescriptive duct sealing. If your utility is only offering incentives and rebates for PTCS duct sealing, this does not qualify you to perform that work. In those cases, you would have to have a PTCS duct sealing person that was certified, and they're the ones that must perform the actual leakage test. At this point, there's no requirements to regularly renew certification. And the good news, the certification will follow you to any company. The only requirement is you submit a new certified technician application to update the information. Let's talk about beyond certification. First of all, you get certified. And then the next step after that is you seal the ducts in a house. The next step is complete any required documentation. And just, to caution you again, each utility might require different amounts of documentation. You submit that documentation to the utility. And the final step is quality assurance inspection that the program performs on your work. Documentation requirements may change between utilities, and we urge you to check first. But generally, the required documentation is the prescriptive duct sealing form, which can be found at bpa.gov/go-to/reshvac, and you'll need your contractor invoice. Entry in the online registry is no longer required for prescriptive duct sealing. However, please check with your utility, who still may prefer that you enter the work into the registry. On the optional installation form, it's important to fill out all the sections. The first section is the technician and site information. The next section will ask you what % of supply ducts are in an unconditioned space. Remember, it must be at least 30% to be eligible for the program. And then finally, it asks you questions about the actual work performed and the sites that you sealed. The second page is about combustion safety. Here we'll ask you questions about, are there any combustion safety appliances in the house? And if there are, did you install a UL-approved carbon monoxide detector in the house? We're going to talk to you about the CAS information. CAS is shorthand for Combustion Appliance Zone. And if the utility requires a test, you can enter that information here. And any notes and agreement terms. Once you've completed the work and completed the paperwork, you must notify the utility you've completed the job. Contact the customer's utility for information on required paperwork. I urge you to form a good working relationship with your local utility and make sure you understand their requirements. The program does quality assurance inspections on at least 10% of all jobs. When you look at this page here, you'll notice there's those yellow triangles to the left. That means these are commonly found spec violations. What we look for, of course, are carbon monoxide detectors if required. We pay attention to those crossover ducts. We make sure that the ducts have all been sealed, the joints fastened, and are in good repair. We double check that all tape has been removed, or at least a good faith effort was made to remove it. The ducts were sealed. This means if you can reach it, you have to seal it. And if you disturbed any duct insulation, that you've reinstalled it. Results of QA inspections will be given to you. It's important for you to know that our inspectors have all done field work. We've done duct sealing. We are not looking for picky little items to point out or fail you on. Most important part about QA is to make sure the process is getting the savings that we want it to get, and also for any work that's not quite up to specifications to get better over time. For more information on this, see the Technician Support Plan section in your notebook. The program website serves as a repository for everything you will need to participate in this program. It includes the forms, the specifications, resources, requirements, additional training resources, online registry resources, and a link to online marketing portal that can help you market your duct sealing services. We urge you to stay informed about the program. To do this, go to ptcs.bpa.gov, follow the links, and sign up for the quarterly newsletter. The newsletter will keep you notified of any updated forms, changes in the specifications, changes in the registry, any common issues we're finding in the field, updated program requirements, and new technical support resources. And we guarantee you we will not spam you or sell any of your information. Thank you for taking these certification trainings, and good luck on the exam. If you ever have comments or questions, contact the PTCS team. Phone number 800-941-3867 or email reshvac@bpa.gov.